Hello friends and welcome to another video lesson from DBOS Talks. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified of new uploads. This is the first video of a playlist called Excel for Data Analysis. If you're relatively new to Excel, do check out my extra tutorial playlist, and in the description below I'll be putting you can look it up in the channel itself, but I will also put in the description a link to one of those videos in that playlist. So in this video that you're watching now, we'll be learning how to filter data in Excel as part of your data analysis. Okay. Let's just say you have some tabular data, which you see on the screen now. Tabular data, or sometimes called grid. And so we wanted to do filtering of data as part of doing data analysis. Okay, so I'll go to the starting point. So first off, you have this column, tabular data. If you want to do filtering in Excel, you click anywhere on this tabular data, anywhere. If you click outside, it will not make sense. You see, I'm clicking on a cell which doesn't have data in it. It's not even within the grid. I click here, I click on the data tab, and then I click on filter, and then it throws an error. This can't be applied, etc. Okay, so what you do, you click anywhere on any cell within the data grid here. Okay, data filter. When you do that, you will see that drop down arrows will appear on all of the columns of your grid, this, and this. And when you drop them down, when you drop it down, it will list all the values in it, in that column, with a check opposite each one or beside each one. Okay, which is the one that you will use for filtering. So we will begin by doing that kind of filtering. I will focus on the column called name, column B. So we'll do filtering here. First is we will filter using a specific name or names. So I'll put my mouse on here, anywhere on this column. No, doesn't matter. I will click on the drop down of name column. And then you can see that by default, all the values were checked or ticked. See, select all. So if I wanted to choose a specific name, the first thing I'll do is to uncheck select all. Okay, I will uncheck select all. Now I can select a specific value. Let's say this one, John Doe. I will check on that. And when I click OK, it is the only value that will be displayed. Again, if you wanted to choose multiple values, again, you click on that drop down, and then you choose multiple values, the ones that you want to see. Maybe this one, Juan Salvador, maybe this one, nada, nada, and then you just click on OK, and then it will display for you the multiple specific values that you have chosen. Okay, so that is filtering by choosing specific values. Now, if you want to clear the filtering, if you look at these drop down arrows, here in my example, I only have 3 columns. In reality, you could have more than so many columns in a report or in an Excel file. There could be 20 or more columns. But the same theory, the same concept applies. Okay, so if you wanted to clear the filtering, you look at each of those drop downs and you look for the one with the funnel icon, which is this one, funnel. So that's just for filtering. So that means this column is not filtered, but the whole data is filtered according to this column here with the funnel. So if you want to clear the filtering, you click on that button, and then you click on this one, clear filter from name. And it clears the filtering on the whole data set. And alongside it, you will see the chart is also getting refreshed, reflecting whatever is the updated value in the grid. Okay, so we've done filtering. on specific value or values of a column. And we've seen that once you do a filtering, the icon of the drop down also shows a funnel along with it. And we also seen that when the values change, the accompanying chart here is also refreshed. If you want to learn more on how to, actually, if you are new to Excel, then you can look up my Excel tutorial series in this same video, in this same channel. But if you want to be specific, want to learn how to do this kind of reporting where there is a data grid and at the same time there's a chart, which is dynamic, which is complementing the data, then you can check out my other video, which I have posted on the description below. Okay. So the next technique we will learn about filtering, which is still is something under text filters. Okay, so the first thing we do, let's just say I will again do the filtering on the name column, column B, because here we can really see the effect of text filtering because it is text, it is not numeric. So you click on the drop down again of this column and you will see text filters. So here you can say, I want to only look at data which begins with a certain value. Okay, so see, so I click on the drop down of that column. Text filters begins with. This is case insensitive, meaning it doesn't have to be uppercase, lowercase, mixed case. It is case insensitive. Let's just say I wanted to focus on the names that begin with Juan, the Spanish name for John. So it's not case sensitive, like I mentioned. So I will just type in lower case Juan, even though you can see that the values have a capital J. So when I click OK, it should only display the values whose names begin with Juan, case insensitive. Click OK. Okay, and it displays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 records with that pattern. Okay, that's text filter. If you wanted to use a different kind of filtering on the same column, you don't need to clear the filtering. Okay, again, if you wanted to use a different filtering on this same column, you don't need to clear like what we did before. You can just straight away go ahead and choose that filtering that you want to apply now. So anyway, you can also explore the other filtering options in here in text filters on your own free time. Okay, so let's just say I wanted to filter by color. Okay, so how is that? If I wanted to filter by color, when I click on the drop down, you see a filter by color, but it is disabled. See, it's disabled. When I click, nothing happens. So you need to do something. Color here is referring to the highlight that you will apply on any of the cells here. So you will see that when you click on the Home tab. But the prerequisite is that at least one of the cells, especially in this column that you wanted to filter, must have that highlight. Okay, for just so it's clear for you, I'll just clear the filtering. So again, if you wanted to apply color filtering on this, you need to have at least one cell with a color. So let's do that. Let's just say this one, I'll apply a filtering, a color of this shade of yellow. And then this one, I will give it a green maybe. And then this one also a green. And then another one, I will choose yellow. Okay, so now this will work. So we are now doing that filtering by color, not by text. So if you wanted to filter on this column called name, you click on the drop down of that column and you go to filter by color. Now you see that it displays the two color shades that we have that exist in our data set. So if I click on filter by color and then I click on this yellow, then it will only display those records whose name values have a yellow highlight. Okay, let's try another one. Drop down, filter by color. Now let's click on green and it will show green. And it will also refresh the chart alongside it. So we've learned how to do a couple of ways of filtering. One is by specifically choosing a value by just dropping down and ticking the checkbox here. The other is filtering by text. There are a couple of options we've seen. Begins with, let me clear this just to be clear for you. Now let's just say, let me remove the colors so that it will not get in the way of your learning process. So let's just say, let's do another type of filtering by text. I click, again, I wanted to focus on the name column. I will click on the drop down and then go to text color, text filters, sorry. And then I will, instead of begins with, I will choose ends with, meaning I will filter based on the last few characters of these cells. So I will say ends with O. It is again case insensitive. It's not case sensitive. So I'm saying I wanted to see only those values that end with the letter O. Click OK. And then there you have it. All these end with the letter O. Again, on your own free time, you can explore the other options in here because they're quite easy to understand. Like contains, meaning it contains a letter in that pattern. It is just specifying the pattern of the data that you wanted to view. Okay. Another thing we can do is to apply filtering on multiple columns. Okay. By the way, before going to that, let me just explain why we sometimes apply a color highlight while doing data analysis. Sometimes, even if you're not a data analyst, you're doing your work, your normal work. Sometimes we do the highlighting for a special purpose that's really something we understand. Maybe this is something we need to go back to. The yellow items, we're telling ourselves, it's a very long list, but I'm reminding myself that sometime later or on some other day, I'll come back and I'll open this file. I need to revisit this record because there is something I need to review. And maybe the green, we're telling ourselves, this is something I've already checked. That's already okay. See, it's a visual comment. It's a visual remarks for ourselves. And with the usage of that, you can also do the filtering, which I've shown you, which is filtering by color. Okay, so I'll remove the color. Next, we'll be learning how to do filtering on multiple columns. So let's say we do a filtering on the name column. I'll say text filter begins with 1. Okay, and it returns to me 5 values. That's all right. But I want to do, imagine here, you only have a couple of rows. So you may not get an appreciation of the beauty, the golden, I mean, the benefit of filtering. But once you are, you deal with hundreds, if not thousands of records, then you will see really the beauty of this filtering. So again, we'll be learning how to apply filtering on multiple columns. Okay, so we already applied the filter on the first column, values that begin with Juan, the Spanish name for John. So J-U-A-N. It's case insensitive. It's able to handle that now. Now we'll apply a second filter. This time it's a number filter. If you look at the values on column C, the values are numeric. So when I click on the drop down on that column, the number filters becomes alive, becomes enabled. So I can say numbers greater than 10. Number filters, and then I will look for greater than, and then I will type 10. So for sure, when I click OK, it should only filter based on the name, which begins with one, JUAN, but also it should filter based on the number of units sold, which will only be values that are greater than 10, sorry. So I click on OK. And sure enough, that's what it gives me. You have seen that we can also do filtering on multiple columns in Excel as part of your data analysis. And again, whenever the values in here, especially number of units sold, gets updated, the chart alongside it gets updated too. So if you're interested in knowing how to do this kind of technique in Excel, in coming up with some cool looking reports, then you can check out my other video in the description below. Okay, so again, to clear the filtering, no problem. You click on the drop down and you click on clear filter. Here, same thing, you click on this drop down with the funnel icon, and then you click on clear filter. And we're back to the original data set, the complete one, unfiltered. Notice that every time the values change, yeah, the chart changes. Okay, so I told you already. In this video, we've learned several data filtering techniques in Excel, and we've seen the simple one, which is checking and checking the checkbox for specific values. And I've told you that before you can even filter, the first thing you do is to uncheck the select all, and only then can you get on with your own kind of filter, your preferred filter. And then we have learned how to filter on text, and we've learned how to filter on numeric values. And we also have learned how to filter using color. Okay, so I guess, and I hope you have learned something new from this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do click subscribe and click the bell. Again, if you're interested in knowing how to do the dynamic rendering of the chart, which is something complementing the data grid over here, you can check out in the description below. I'll be posting a link to that video I've also, which is also in my channel. Thank you, and see you in the next video.